Have the roll call.
Representative Allemand. Representative Angelos. Here. Representative Haroldson.
Here.
Representative Pendergraph.
Here.
Representative Sherwood. Here. Representative Smith.
Here.
Chairman Bear.
Here.
You have a quorum.
Thank you. We're here this morning to begin with House Bill 111, which is state-funded capital construction. I believe everybody in this room is familiar with how we do things, so we can preclude the rest of that. Mr. Crosland, if you would begin by introducing the bill. We don't need a page-by-page rundown, just a 15,000-foot overview. Thanks.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I've prepared a brief overview of this bill, House Bill 111, state-funded capital construction. I'll just jump right into it here. Pages. Oh, apologies. My name is N.A. Crosland with the LSO Budget Fiscal Division. I'm an associate fiscal analyst. I jumped the gun a little bit there, but I'll jump right into it now. Pages 1 all the way to page 3, halfway through page 3 is the definitions. This gives an overview of the terminology used in the rest of the bill. After that starts section 2. Section 2 starts halfway through page 3 and goes until page 6. This section outlines the individual projects in 2 tables. The reason there are 2 tables is just because of a difference in how these projects funds are administered. The first table is administered by the State Construction Department, and the second table is administered by the Department of State Parks and Cultural Resources. Under the first table is a set of footnotes which delve a little bit deeper and specify where needed on projects in that table. After that, section 3 starts on page 7 and goes until page 8. This outlines the major maintenance appropriations. As you all know, major maintenance has historically been in the budget bill. However, it has been moved here and it's appropriated a little bit differently from the projects list. Instead of going over individual facilities that major maintenance goes through, there is a sum amount in the beginning of this section, and then the proportional distribution in which these funds are divvied out. And the last section, section 4, this act is effective July 1st, 2026. I'll stand for any questions, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Did you have anything in particular in the fiscal note that you cared to point out?
Mr. Chairman, the fiscal note outlines the different fund sources for the agencies to which these funds go to, but it also explains section 2 a little bit. I'll just read it out here. Footnote 3 of this bill directs that any federal funds received for the state-run veterans home facilities be deposited into the Legislative Stabilization Reserve Account, otherwise known as the LSRA, to the extent that funds appropriated from the general fund for the Department of Health's Veterans Home Remodel Project have been expended, and that any remaining federal funds reduce appropriations from the general fund by $1 for every $1 of federal funds received. In short, this just makes sure that the money goes to the right place and there's no excess money sitting around. If federal funds were to arrive and the veterans home was already completed, all of the funds would be just simply go to the LSRA.
Thank you, sir. Are there any questions for Mr. Crosland? Seeing none, I thank you very much. We'll move into public comment. So any of the agency folks who care to comment on this, Mr. McComey? Good morning. Please introduce yourself for those who may not know you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, committee. My name's Dale McComey. I'm the director for the State Construction Department. No comments on the bill. I think it's what we talked about in our couple of presentations we had, and then when the committee worked the bill. So I think it's in alignment with what the governor had suggested in his budget also. So stand for any questions, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, sir. Representative Haroldson, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman and Director. Thanks for being here. It's not in here, but it's a conversation that has kind of bounced around. Talk to me a little bit about the private funds that have been earmarked for State Fair Complex and kind of some of those projects. Can you give us just a little bit of a context and flavor? As I've had, it's not my district, but it's right on the edge of my district, and it used to be my district before we shifted those things around. And they're asking, you know, we've got private funds. Why can't we do these projects? Can you talk just a little bit about that process and what that looks like right now?
Yes, Mr. Chairman. I think it kind of follows in line with some of the other notes that the governor had made with the community colleges, for example, where he said that they could follow or they could use their private funds for their projects this time, rather than the state participating in the state fairground. There wasn't a note in the governor's budget in alignment with using those funds. I believe that they're currently working towards having some funds for those projects. I'm not sure exactly what they have. I can ask Dave if he knows. Okay. Yeah, there's 2 million that's allocated in the governor's recommendations that they could use for private funds, but that's how much they've collected to date. I don't know.
Thank you. Any follow-up? Further questions, committee? Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. Vice Chairman. Director Comey, thank you for being here today and answering our questions, and thank you for your hard work on this bill. I have a question about the Veterans Hospital. Has there been any updates? Is there any rumblings from the federal government as far as the funding that is supposed to be coming from them?
Mr. Chairman, I have not heard anything in addition to what we had presented earlier in December. However, I do know that there are individuals that are trying to work with the veterans folks themselves outside of the agencies to try and see if they can move those forward. I believe the commission actually, or the group that kind of looks at those funds, was meeting, I think it was last week perhaps, on that. So there may be some updates coming out of that meeting, but at this point in time, don't have anything new.
Follow up. Thank you, Mr. Vice Chairman. Director Comey, can you just give me a kind of a synopsis of this project as far as timing? So once you get the go ahead, how long do you expect phase 1, phase 2, phase 3 to take all the way to the end of the project?
Phase 1 and 2 are complete. So we've got a contractor on board that'll be working with the design team as they finish up that project, but it'll be out on the street fairly quickly. I can ask Mr. Webb to step up. He's more familiar with the nuances of it, but that contractor was put on about 2 years ago when this project was first brought forward. So,
Mr. Webb, if you'd care to opine.
Mr. Chairman, Representative Pendergraft. So it's shelf ready right now. We have 100% design. What we have to do is go back and relook at the GMP and make sure that we're tracking still what inflation has done to the project cost. And then once we do that and we get a solid GMP, it'll be a 3 or 4 year project. So it's shovel ready.
Thank you.
No further questions? Seeing none, thank you, gentlemen. Mr. Webb, if you had anything that you wanted to add that you didn't get a chance to put forward, please take this opportunity.
Actually, the administrator for construction management, the State Construction Department, Construction Management Division is sitting behind me, and I bet you she would have some stuff.
Thank you.
and Mr. Chairman, I think it's only appropriate that the administrator come up and talk today since she was not here for the original presentation. So go ahead.
Mr. Chairman, I know that
We-
my director and our construction supervisor are well-versed in every detail, and they've done a great job briefing all of you on every project. I do believe, going back to the show floor, that the state fair is very close to having those funds, if the project would be allowed to be authorized, the private funds, which are a combination of a grant and some city-county funds. Regarding the veterans home, that's been shovel-ready. We'd hoped, after each legislative session, that if it was approved, that we could start immediately after session to start moving forward, and we will do everything we can. It does need to be built exactly as designed and approved in the grant. So we wouldn't, VE out essential parts of the project in order to bring the cost down, because it does need to be built in accordance with the grant. But I think that our contractors have been standing by for quite a while, hoping that it moves forward.
And Mr. Chairman, also in regard to that, that is kind of a phased project. So they're going to be working on different parts of it. The current folks that reside there will stay where they're at, and then as they build through. So it's really just not building a great big new building. It's going to be phased on that side as they move through, moving folks from one area to another as the building progresses.
Thank you. That is helpful. I was trying to picture how that would work. A little bit, if I could, about LCCC. That's proceeding on private funds. How is the progress there? They just tackle one building at a time, or how's that proceeding?
Mr. Chairman, Representative Pendergraph, apologize for not introducing myself. Suzanne Norton, Construction Administrator for State Construction Management Division. The college has, planned in their master plan for all of those projects to move forward in phases. They are currently working on the auto. We do have the president of LCCC here if you would like, specific details of the day-to-day changes and moving forward. But private funds are how the bill is here at this
Mr.
time.
President, I would personally appreciate a little bit of an update there. Thank you. Please introduce yourself for the. Please introduce yourself for our audience online.
Hey, good morning, Mr. Chairman, members of the committee. My name is Joe Schaefer. I'm the president of Laramie County Community College. Appreciate the question regarding our exterior renewal initiative. I think I presented to the committee in the past. We have 4 phases. Essentially, of what we're trying to do is preserve these concrete buildings that are on campus. We've come up with a solution that allows us to fix some of the legacy issues with aggregate used in the concrete. And so we're able to actually seal the concrete, insulate it, increase the energy efficiency of the buildings, and then put a new exterior on that. We are actually moving through phase 1 and anticipate completing phase 1 projects this fall. We have 3 projects currently under construction. The 4 projects within the CapCon bill, the state funded capital construction bill, are the same ones that you saw last year, and this committee actually approved with state match in there. One difference or one caveat, the Auto Tech building, we were fortunate to actually work with a private donor, and so we were able to cover the entirety of the funds for that project. And so you'll see it's here for authorization only. The other 3 projects are those that we were requesting state match for. We'll finish the current phase 1 in October. And one of the challenges, or one of the things we're trying to do, is ensure we can keep the design team and the contractors on site so they can just roll. And then we save significantly because we're not having contractors leave site and relocate, leave site and relocate. And so with the failure on the Senate side to get this bill through last year, we tried to extend that timeline to make sure that they could stay on site in anticipation of this legislative session to move through. But even with that, we anticipate that year probably escalated the projects about 1.2 million. And so, Mr. Chairman, members of the committee, we're excited about this. We want to keep rolling. We have 4 phases. This would be phase 2. And then as soon as we're done, we just want to keep moving with the trades along the campus. But appreciate the question and happy to stand for any others.
Anyone else question for the president? Thank you. Mr. Chairman, I believe you had an earlier question.
Thank you. I believe I've gotten some information in the back of my head somewhere about Northwest Community College and their major maintenance calculation maybe not being accurate. Could you just share with the committee the concern there?
Yes, Mr. Chairman. That they have a new building that came online, and that was not, the square footage for that was not accounted for in what was presented to the department that flows through the college commission, and that calculation was not in there. Because it is a new building, the first year of that, it's under warranty, and so it didn't make it into the presentation for the SBC, and so it is not included in there. I don't know what the square footage or what that calculation may be if you wanted to add that back in, but we could certainly get that for you.
Director, I think it'd be prudent for us to have an amendment drafted to try to catch that correction right now. So if you could have us something before we get this bill to the floor, that would, if that's possible.
Yes, we'll have that to you today.
Okay.
Yep.
And just get that directly to our staff so that they can draft an amendment.
Okay, we can do that.
Prepared. Yep. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Any follow-ups? No. Last crack at it. All right. Thank you, folks.
Thank you.
Further public comment? Anyone that's got a dog in this fight, please come forward.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman, members of the committee. Erin Taylor, representing the Wyoming Association of Community College Trustees. Really want to thank the committee for including the major maintenance in this bill. It's a little different this year. That's okay. But of course, you know the importance of the major maintenance for all of the colleges. So that's something that we just want to express on behalf of all of the colleges, the importance of keeping those dollars solid in there. I do have with me here, of course, the authorizations. That was a little twist last year where those didn't end up going through. So you heard the importance of that for those projects from LCCC. But I do have with me here, Dr. Tribley from Sheridan College, who does have some information for you about his project as well. And for anything, thank you for bringing that up, Mr. Chairman, about the Northwest College. Maybe there was a little hiccup in the process with having a new building. And that's, I think, what was at the root of that. So I appreciate you bringing that up. If there's anything more that we can provide for the committee, please let me know. We'll be happy to bring that for you as the bill moves forward. Thank you.
Thank you. Any questions for Ms. Taylor? Seeing none. Mr. Tribley, thank you for being here. I would like you to describe the project at Sheridan College and what you were looking for. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, members of the committee. It's a pleasure to be here, and thanks for hearing our comments. So the Sheridan College Science Center project is both a renovation and has a portion that is new. We are looking to be shovel ready with an appropriation this session. We'd be shovel ready and be able to go out for a bid immediately at the end of this session. So we've done the design and construction documents. Those will be complete. This science building serves every degree-seeking student that comes in and needs to take a science, but it supports careers in the health fields, of course, nursing, dental hygiene, and most other fields that have to have anatomy and phys and anatomy and physiology, microbiology, general biology. General biology, botany, those are also part of ag curricula, zoology, et cetera, also in the ag curriculum. So we have about 1,000 students a year that touch this building, go through the building. The building is in need of repairs. They're quite expensive. We have to put in fire suppression. We have HVAC issues, particularly in the labs that have strong fumes like the anatomy and phys lab, but generally throughout the building. So we like to think we tend at Sheridan College to use the existing structure of the building. If it is solid, good bones and this one does have good bones, but it's clearly out of date. So we are utilizing what we can. and adding new. So we're renovating 22,600 approximately square feet and approximately 16,300 new square feet. And I'll end by saying years ago, when we were designing this, we knew that we are seeing a shift in how children were receiving their educations at a strong shift and more people participating in certainly in the K-12 public sector, but outside of that. So this building has space set aside for science education for those students that are coming in from the K-12, also coming in from homeschooling and other situations where we can do a lot. Parents can do a lot with groups and associations, but when you're 17 and you need to know how to use a centrifuge and a micro pipetter, those are specialized pipetters, or any other instrumentation, that's where some of those associations struggle a little bit. So we're going to have space for community laboratories in this. The new space in particular has a lab set aside for them.
Thank you for that. Could you describe a little bit about the funding plan? Do you have some private sources lined
Yeah,
up?
we have private sources, and we can augment the way we're doing that. We have the full funding for our share of the building in pocket now. We have a couple of foundations in town that we can turn to if we wish to supplement that or trade it out. But right now, we have our share of the funds.
Thank you, Dr. Tribally. And the state share of that, if I remember, was somewhere around 27.
$15,194,676.
Okay, I'm going to let this delay a little bit longer because every time I delay, it comes in less than what I remember.
Yeah.
Thank you, Dr. Tribally.
Yeah.
Any questions for Dr. Tribally? All right. Yeah, go ahead.
Did you tell them you self-funded the design?
Oh, I think you just ended it. Right. Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Vice Chairman. My question is for Ms. Taylor, actually, and it doesn't have to do with this bill, but with the budget itself. My community college has a difficult situation as they're transitioning into their own community college. And this committee added money to the budget for CTE at the community college level. But I understand that that particular school, as it's coming on board, does not have the capability to access those funds. Can you just describe for the committee, what the scenario is and what might be necessary with the budget bill to correct that?
Mr. Chairman and Mr. Chairman, he's running this committee, Mr. Chairman. Okay, I'll just say that. Thank you. Thank you for the question. That the issue has come up right now. Gillette College is not assessing 4 mills, so technically what you're describing is they're not eligible for state aid. They have received other funds like the WIP dollars, and that's a situation that asking the commission why that's so. I believe it was because it was directed by the governor. Am I misled in that? I believe I'm correct in that. So that was a situation. It's a governor's initiative. Everyone's working together to do this. They were included in that effort. The distribution of CTE funds, unless it's directed specifically outside the funding model, I believe would still be under that same situation. Am I misspeaking? I think I'm saying it correctly.
Thank you, Mr. Vice Chairman. So in your opinion, if a footnote said that the intent of the legislature is that those funds be distributed in a different manner, that would probably be sufficient to ensure that the funds were made available to Gillette Community College?
I believe so, Mr. Chairman. I mean, that happens a lot in the budget bill. Am I misspeaking? I mean, it's a tricky situation. I will ask my presidents to weigh in on that because I am not clear on, I know what happened with the WIP dollars, but other than that, I don't know.
Mr. President, please.
Yeah. If I may, just real quickly.
Dr. Tribally, go ahead, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So there are 2 requirements to receive state aid: accreditation and assessing 4 mills. And your college, as you know, is right around 3.2 mills at this point, and they're very close to accreditation. So if you choose to run those dollars through the funding allocation model, it is likely they'll be ready soon. But you can choose other mechanisms to direct those funds. You can choose other routes. The funding allocation model has its strengths and weaknesses. One is that it's rehearsed and all the community colleges see it and we understand it. If Gillette, and I'm hearing they are going to try to get into that funding model soon, then they would be receiving it in the near future. Otherwise, you'd have to do a workaround and create a different type of funding mechanism.
Follow-up, go ahead.
Thank you. Thank you for giving your opinion about that. I'm going to ask both of the presidents just your opinion about potentially a different way of distributing those funds. Right now, I think it's just through the model, so it's based on ADM and those types of things. But CTE is one of those things where, you know, sometimes there's a hotbed around the state where a community college is meeting some real needs. Sometimes there's not. So I've had it suggested to me that maybe we should model this funding toward the schools that are already heavily into CTE. I'd just like to hear both of your opinions about that, or whether it should stay the way it is.
Dr. Tribely.
I haven't thought too much about that, but I think what I would do is look at what colleges have in their Perkins, because you would have to define what CTE is. Currently is not. I mean, it seems like it's for on the surface it is, but in terms of which enrollments are, which enrollments aren't. But I think if you use the mechanism that looked at the programs that are covered in the college's Perkins portfolio as a start, work with the commission staff, clearly work with commission staff who work with us to do any tweaks to that. And then you have to define how many students there are, what the actual capacity is. So we have to have a vehicle for defining what is CTE. I would stay away from percentages. Percentages are slippery slopes, you know, but that's a start. It's not constructed for this funding. It's been in existence, and we all have Perkins and advisory board on our campus.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the committee. Again, Joe Schaefer from Laramie County Community College. Mr. Chairman, to your first comment, one recommendation I might have is to inquire with the AG's office when the conversation regarding Gillette College's eligibility for state aid emerged. The commission actually asked for an opinion from their assistant AG. That opinion, and this is now my opinion, was a pretty narrow definition about the eligibility for state funds. One might interpret that to say that the statutes pertain specifically to the block grant state aid to the community colleges, and perhaps not the other funding sources that we benefit from: health insurance reimbursement, library funding, Wyoming investment in nursing. But I believe the AG's opinion was a bit more narrow and said no state funding. That might be worth revisiting and looking at, and then that might help clarify the question that you have, Mr. Chairman. Without that or some clarification there, Dr. Tribely is correct. There's other requirements based on that for them to be eligible for any state funding. Specifically to the CTE, first, let me thank the committee just for stepping in and actually making that recommendation for an appropriation. I think we've shared, and I know Ms. Taylor shared just the pressures that the colleges are under to respond to the changing needs of growing students in some of the campuses. And so those funds are really critical for us to continue to do what we're doing, and we appreciate you doing that. I've shared my thoughts with my fellow presidents and the commission that since that appropriation seems to sit outside of the block grant, the state aid, that appropriating or having it allocated by the commission proportionate to the CTE activity at each college probably gets those dollars where you're seeing most of that activity occurring. Right now, as part of our annual reporting requirement to the Community College Commission, we report the number of FTE and students in CTE programs. So there are mechanisms, I think, in which the commission, should they be directed to allocate the funds in those ways, could do that and ensure that those dollars flow where you're seeing the CTE activity across the state.
Any follow-up? Okay. Representative Sherwood.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Good morning. Thank you for being here with us. Now that my coffee has kicked in, I realize that I need some clarification here. So a lot of the community college projects, we see that there are private funds for. Two questions, just to verify. We are providing, question one, we are providing you clarity on authorization to move forward. Question two, the funding that you have now through private funds, is that adequate to complete these projects? Thank you.
Go ahead.
Mr. Chair, thank you. Representative Sherwood. No, the amount that we have at 12 million would not achieve what we're trying to do with this. We'd have to redesign the projects, and we've already paid for the architect to design. The project would cost quite a bit to go back. We would not be able to achieve the goals that we're attempting to do on that building, on that project. It's just too large. Thank you.
Any follow-up?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'd like to hear also from Dr. Schaefer on that. Thank you.
Yeah, thank Mr. Chairman, Representative Sherwood. Thank you for the question, and I appreciate Dr. Tribally clarifying that. So one, yes, we appreciate the authorization for the projects that do just need authorization. They can move forward. I believe that's Central Wyoming Colleges and then our automotive tech building. For the other ones, though, the simple answer is no. We're working to raise our share of the match and doing our best. We were fortunate with automotive tech, but we're doing everything we can to raise the 50% that will bring in local or private funds for those projects. Without the state match, we wouldn't be able to move forward with those projects. And as I shared earlier to the committee, that's one of my concerns, because that delay will not only have price escalations, but also just the challenges of moving contractors on and off campus and the expense that comes with that.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So I guess that the way that it's presented now with the private funds, it may give the impression to the body that these projects are moving forward. So I guess I would just challenge the committee, challenge us to think about how we allocate resources so that these can actually get done, and we can move them off the list and move on to the next round of projects that we see coming in the next few biennial. Thank you.
Thank you. Any further questions? Don't see any more. Thank you all. Is there anyone else in the room here care to comment on this bill or any of the projects? Please come forward. Please come forward, introduce yourself, and tell us what we need to know.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman, members of the committee. My name is Kelly Little. I'm with the Associated General Contractors of Wyoming. I won't repeat what I said in support of this bill during your interim markup, but I do want to again voice our support, particularly for this bill in general, for the funding in general, and particularly for the funding for the Veterans Home in Buffalo. The contractor that the agency mentioned earlier is a member of ours, and they are raring to go. They're ready to do this work for the people of Wyoming and particularly for the veterans of Wyoming. So it would please us if the funding for that finally went into effect and they could get on the ground and get working on that. We also are in support of the major maintenance dollars, the full allocation. You know, as I've said before, we take care of what we build, and I know that the state does that, and we appreciate your help in making that happen by allocating these dollars. And then in general, I just want to thank you all for the hard work that you've done in putting into this bill and the budget. It's a lot of long hours, and we see that, and we appreciate the work that you're doing for the people of Wyoming. And with that, I would stand for questions.
Thank you. Any questions for Ms. Little?
Thank you
for being here, and thank you for the chocolate dump.
You're welcome. I was wondering if that was going to come up, Mr. Chairman. Thank you.
I couldn't let, I've been asking her for years. Would you please see if we can get white chocolate dump trucks? And apparently that is a bridge too far.
I'm trying. I will continue to try. Thank you. Have a good one.
Thank you for that. Anyone else in the room care to comment on this bill or the project? Please come forward, introduce yourself, and tell us what we need to hear.
My name is Dale Boren, and I'm a citizen of Natrona County who ran for the college board and got elected. You probably can relate to that. And I don't have much to do with the complicated college funding, but serving on the college board and learning what goes on at the college, I have seen the value of the benefit of the colleges to our community. So I just wanted to say thank you for that funding. Thank you for your support. And that's it.
Thank you, Mr. Boren. Questions for Mr. Boren? Go right ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'm curious, what is your favorite part of your job serving in this capacity?
Oh, bossing the president.
Mr. Boren. Through the chair, please.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, it's a fabulous job because you get to learn so much. You see what goes on in your community. It's very broad. Like I said, the benefit that is delivered to the community is demonstrable. And so it's satisfaction, I guess, is my, thank you.
Thank you. Any further questions? Thank you for being here. Anybody else? Last call. All right, do we have anybody online?
No, Mr. Vice Chair.
Seeing no one online, we'll close public comment. Committee, what's your pleasure?
Second.
Moved by Representative Alaman, seconded by Representative Sherwood. Any questions, comments on the bill in general? And then we'll go page by page. Seeing none, any amendments for page 1? Page 2? Page 3? Page 4? Representative Sherwood.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I believe that there is a representative who has had to step out of the room. And if I'm reading the tea leaves right, he might have wanted to make a footnote in regards to the State Fair Show center floor to provide authorization to have those private dollars spent. I did get confirmation that $2 million has been in private revenue has been raised. And so I would move that we make a footnote in this bill to authorize the spending of those private funds.
Is there a second? Seconded by Representative Smith. Any discussion on the motion? Seeing none, all those in favor of go ahead, Representative Alaman.
This probably can't be answered, Mr. Chairman. But is the 2 million, is that all the funds that will be needed? And then second question is, after the floor is put in, do we take care of the maintenance of it? Because I understand that it will be high maintenance.
Representative Sherwood, do you happen to know that? I know that they were going to put in a portion of the coils.
Yeah.
Thank you. Please proceed.
Mr. Chairman, Suzanne Norton, Administrator for State Construction Department, Construction Management Division. So the project, the 2 million is a not to exceed amount. And so we hope that it will be less than that. And we think that we've planned appropriately to include, inflation funds within that estimate. Regarding the maintenance of the building and any increased cost, the square footage of the building is not changing. So the major maintenance calculation will not increase. In some ways, I suppose it's possible that the maintenance of the cooling system that will be part of that concrete floor may require some, maintenance, mechanical type maintenance. However, the maintenance that will then not occur in treating the dirt floor for the animal health and biohazards and so on will be much, much less.
Thank you. So they're putting the coils in the floor, and then, as I understand it, private sources are going to put the pumps, the compressors, whatever it is that, that's correct, right?
Mr. Chairman.
And
that's
then
correct.
who's responsible for maintaining that equipment?
Mr. Chairman, I believe that most likely it will be, preventive maintenance will be part of the state fair staff day-to-day operations. I think it's reasonable to project that if there is a failure or something that needs to happen to repair the coils in the cooling system, that it may, outreach into the entities that are using it for that purpose.
But there really aren't any moving parts or mechanical things below the surface, so.
Mr. Chairman, no.
So the risk is pretty minimal. Follow up?
Thank you very much. It sounds like a really great private project to me. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, yes, thank you.
Better than a swimming pool. Representative Angelo.
Thank you so much. Ms. Norton, I have a question for you. So you said that it'll offset the cost with having to treat that dirt floor. Do you have an offset of cost? Because we're going to get asked that on the floor. It'd be great to have that, even if you don't have that now. If you could get that to us to say, hey, look, this is how much they're spending a year on this. This will offset the cost. That will help us be able to look at that on the floor for us.
Mr. Chairman, Representative, we'll get that for you today.
Representative.
Mr. Chairman, I have a friendly amendment to my amendment. I'd like to add the phrase not to exceed. So for authorization, that $2 million with that, include that language.
Without objection from the second? Okay. Any further comments, questions on the motion? Seeing none, all those in favor of Representative Sherwood's motion, please say aye. Any opposed? Motion has passed. Amendment is passed, been adopted. Got to remember my terminology. Any further amendments? Page 4. Representative Sherwood.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, body. I would like to move, I think I'm going to do this as a block here. In regards to the state match, I would like for us to include that in this bill as it relates to LCCC Science Building, Crossroads Building, Community Center Building. And so we would do a 50-50 on that. So it would be adding an additional, excuse me, state funds, 7.9 million, 7.7 million, 7.5 million rounded, so that we can move forward with these projects, that they can be completed, and so that we're not incurring additional inflation costs. And again, so we can get these off the books, move forward, and be prepared for next biennium's list of projects.
Thank you. Do we have a second? Seeing none, the motion dies for lack of a second. I would encourage you to consider that on the floor. I'm sure you will. Any further amendments? Page 4. Page 5. Page 6. Page 7. Page 8. Last call. All right, I believe then we have worked the bill. Could we have a roll call vote?
Okay, roll call vote, House Bill 111 do pass as amended. Representative Allemand, Representative Angelos, Chairman Bear voted aye via absentee. Representative Harrelson voted aye via absentee. Representative Sherwood. Aye. Representative Smith.
Aye.
Vice Chairman Pendergraph.
Aye.
Mr. Vice Chair, 7 aye. And who will be presenting on the floor?
Thank you. House Bill 111 is finished and we'll move on. And,
I just need an answer to the.
pardon me?
Who will be presenting on the floor?
I would get into that. Yeah, that's my responsibility. I'll take this one on the floor.
Thank you.
Thank you all for being here. We shall move on to the next bill, which is House Bill 112. Riverton State Office Task Force Sunset. Do we have anyone here to present the bill? No one here to present the bill. Committee, we're familiar with what's happening here. That's pretty simple. Just close down the project. With your agreement, we'll open this up for any comment. Is there any comment from anyone in the room? House Bill 112. Do we have anybody online?
No, Mr. Vice Chair.
Nobody's online, therefore we'll close public comment. Any discussion on the, no, excuse me. Committee, what's your pleasure? Moved by Representative Alaman, seconded by Representative Angelos. Any comments, questions, amendments on page 1? Page 2? Seeing none, we have the roll call on House Bill 112.
Roll call vote, House Bill 112 do pass. Representative Alaman? Aye. Representative Angelos? Chairman Bear voted aye via absentee. Representative Haroldson voted aye via absentee. Representative Sherwood? Aye. Representative Smith? Aye. Vice Chair Pendergraft?
Aye.
Mr. Vice Chair, 7 aye. And who will present on the floor?
Do I have a volunteer from those here? Thank you, Representative Alaman. Sacrifice your body. Well, if ever there was a good one for just getting it done, this is it. So thank you for that. Final bill this morning. House Bill 122, Wyoming Rural Health Transformation Program. Director, would you? Director Johansson, would you care to, you and Mr. Fuchs? You would just walk us through this bill, 30,000 feet, and whatever you can tell us that we may not be aware. I know this changes rapidly.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the committee, Stephen Johansson with the Wyoming Department of Health. Just as a broad update on where we are with this program, as you all know in our discussions over the past several weeks and as recently as last week, we're in the budget revision period of the Rural Health Transformation negotiations with the federal administration. Met with them as recently as yesterday. We'll report those discussions are going very well. I'll keep the detail to a minimum just because nothing is final yet. But we've had very productive discussions, and I'm optimistic that the right path for Wyoming is opening up. And that's again, a lot of devil in the details here. And as we talked about last week, we will do our best as this situation evolves, details change, to keep this committee and the legislature up to date, especially as this bill works its way through the House and hopefully the Senate. With that said, pertaining to this bill, we think the bill is in very good shape for the tools, the mechanics that the department and the state needs to execute this program in the way that it was envisioned. Mr. Chairman, as an overview, essentially what this bill does is a couple of things. One, it appropriates the federal spending authority that we need based on the award that we were given, which is the first year award of a 5-year program, $205 million plus an estimate to carry us through the biennium should we be awarded the second year funding and should the program be ultimately implemented. That's number one. Number two, the bill authorizes what we call the Rural Health Transformation Perpetuity. It's, as this committee knows, a concept and a funding mechanism that allows us to essentially lock in the federally approved activities that sustain basic care across our communities, critical access hospital services, financial sustainability and access for EMS, ambulance services, and workforce development. This is the kind of pivotal innovation of Wyoming's plan. Again, a central discussion or focal point of our discussions with the federal government. But again, what we believe is a practical, conservative, and very effective way to move this funding forward in a way that makes sense for Wyoming. So through the pages of the bill, you'll see that that perpetuity fund established and various elements that govern not only the deposits into that perpetuity, but also the allocations that come out of it to the department for what are called purpose dedicated shares. Again, the initiatives that have been approved by the federal government in our plan to essentially be locked in for the life of this perpetuity account is essentially the mechanics of what this bill does. It also implements some performance requirements and performance metrics for recipients of these funds that we hope will jive well with the federal requirements, which we also have both for performance metrics and reporting. As you can imagine, federal requirements on subrecipient monitoring, reporting back to the federal government are always stringent in these programs. This puts some state customization on what those would be. And finally, Mr. Chairman, if it's the committee's pleasure, we do have a very small technical amendment that we think would be prudent to the bill. If you'd like to hear that, we can offer it. If you'd prefer that on the floor, that's fine with us too. But if the former, I can hand it over to our deputy director to let you know where that amendment would be.
Director, do you have that amendment prepared at this point?
Mr. Chairman, just we could give it to you verbally. We could also provide it to you in writing. It's relatively small.
Please let us know what we're looking at. Thank you, Mr. Fuchs.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the committee. Franz Fuchs, Deputy Director at Department of Health. This refers to the performance reporting, starts on page 24, line 8. And there's a subsection B that says the department shall require each recipient hospital, clinic, emergency medical service provider, or other healthcare related provider receiving funds under the program to enter into a written performance and accountability agreement with the department. Our proposal is to restrict this to the perpetual funding proportion. So these would be entities and organizations that receive any kind of perpetual funding. So because there's a lot of other time limited programs out there, and it may not make sense to require the kind of performance reporting from those entities if they're just doing a pilot project or some one-off type deal. So the proposed amendment, again, for your consideration, would be after program, make it programs and say authorized in Wyoming Statute 3525-706, which refers to the perpetual funding section with all the allocation percentages previously in the bill. So that's it's pretty simple correction, but it does clarify and sort of narrow those performing requirements to just the entities receiving perpetually funded payments.
Mr. Crosland, you're following that? Thank you, sir. Any further comments? Go ahead.
Mr. Chairman, members of the committee, just in closing, as we talked about last week, as you considered this bill as a joint committee and moved it on, we're excited about this program. A lot of details to work through with the administration. As I mentioned, those discussions are going well. We appreciate their engagement, their support, and I think in our concepts and in our goals of this program, we're in alignment with the federal administration on what Wyoming wants to achieve. Where Wyoming has been creative, innovative, and very conservative in its proposals, we're hopeful that we get to a full agreement this month. And as I mentioned, we'll keep this committee and the legislature updated on that. Finally, Mr. Chairman, I just want to thank you all in the Appropriations Committee, the legislature in general, and your constituents for their participation in helping us get where we are today. This is an exciting deal for Wyoming. This is truly a chance in a few of these basic and core functions of the healthcare system, to do some things that we've all wanted to do for a long time, and use this as an opportunity to implement some really sustainable transformation and reform to some of our most important healthcare systems in the state. So again, just thank this committee and the legislature for their support, and you'll be seeing me and hearing from me as we get updates and information as it evolves very quickly. And with that, Mr. Chairman, happy to answer any other questions.
Thank you for that. Could you speak for a minute? We hear a lot about maternity deserts and those issues. Could you speak to that particular issue in light of this project?
Mr. Chairman, the availability and provision of maternity care has been a policy problem, an economic problem in our healthcare system in Wyoming, certainly as long as I've been with the Department of Health, for nearly 13 years, and certainly before that. Just over the past 5 or 6 years, we've seen 4 or 5 maternity units shut off service around Wyoming, which really is a challenge for the residents of those areas in raising families, planning to live and work and build lives in Wyoming, because access to that care can be so far away, often in peripheral states and larger markets. Mr. Chairman, we, both with maternity care, critical access hospital services, EMS or ambulance services, we essentially made a broad thesis in our rural health transformation plan, which is where Wyoming struggles as a very large geography and a small population state, is the ability to have and sustain care that's basic, but that also requires very high fixed cost. You can see that in the provision of maternity care. It's very intensive on the staffing. It's in a hospital. It's very intensive on equipment, on expertise, and thus on cost. Similarly, with ambulances, we know we have very small and rural and frontier ambulance services that may have 1 or 2 ambulances, and generally speaking, one ambulance can cost as much as $500,000 a year to have and maintain. Where the volume of calls for 911 response that agency would receive could be in the dozens, and the billing associated with that from Medicare, Medicaid, commercial insurance will not even begin to recoup that $500,000 fixed cost. So how is that essentially maintained? Through volunteer labor, through fundraising, or through county budgets. And it's been a debate in this legislature for years and years of what's the best way to sustain ambulance service that we know our constituents want. It's a very basic thing. When you call 911, you want an ambulance to show up relatively quickly. That thesis on trying to have a different payment model for offsetting those high fixed costs to sustain the basics in a smart way is really what we heard from your constituents, from our friends and neighbors across Wyoming, and our public engagements through developing this plan. And I think this idea offers us a practical and conservative way to do that. And by implementing a new payment model, a payment reform where we help offset those high fixed costs to essentially guarantee that service provision, in exchange, we get smart conservative reforms from those systems. Things like participating in more efficient billing from those payers, partnerships with other providers, larger providers for complications, et cetera. I think we have the right incentives in this plan, but I want to be clear that with our EMS systems, our hospital systems, our maternity care and OB units, we intend, if this is federally approved, to work hand in hand with those systems to design what these agreements would look like. We don't want to be penny wise and pound foolish with the concepts, but make sure that they're practical and they work well for those providers and for your communities. But Mr. Chairman, that's a long-winded response of what we believe is one of the fundamental problems of economics with things like maternity care and OB, very similar to hospital emergency departments, EMS and ambulance agency service providers, where these are just very expensive and very costly services to operate, that a traditional volume-based system and fee-for-service system is not conducive to long-term sustainability. We believe we have an opportunity in a smart way to insert practical and good policy to try to change that course in Wyoming.
Thank you for that. They say that brevity is the soul of wit, but sometimes wit only goes so far. Any further questions from the committee? All right, thank you. Anyone else in the room care to comment on House Bill 122? Seeing none, we do have someone online, right?
Mr. Vice Chair, no.
Okay, we have no longer anyone online. So I will close public comment at that point. Committee, what's your pleasure?
Move the bill. Second.
Moved by Representative Angelo, second by Representative Sherwood. Comments or questions from the committee on this bill as a whole? Seeing none, we'll move through it. Any amendments, comments, questions? Page 1. Page 2. Page 3. 4. 5. 6. 7. 8. 9. 10. Page 11. Page 12. 13. 14. 15. 16. 17. 18. 19. Page 20. Page 21. 22. 23. And page 24. We have a motion on page 24. Representative Angelos.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I would like to make a motion on page 24. I believe it's line 8. After programs to direct us to use the change that the Department of Health has offered. If you could get that to staff. I know that there is referring to a statute in there, changing the word programs and then adding in a statute. So if you could get that to our staff, that would be great. And if that would be friendly, I would appreciate a second.
Second.
Okay. Motion brought by Representative Angelos, seconded by Representative Sherwood. The motion is to add the letter S to program and then appropriate language for authorization of 3525-706. Do I have that close?
Mr.
Okay.
Vice Chair, if you could just hand that to me, that'd be great, or send it to me. Okay, thank you.
All right, that will be forwarded. So it's been moved and seconded. All in favor of Representative Angelos' motion, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion has carried. Any further amendments? Page 24. Page 25. And that carries us through the bill. Do we have a roll call on House Bill 122, Wyoming Rural Health Transformation Program?
Roll call vote, House Bill 122 do pass as amended. Representative Allemand. Aye. Representative Angelos. Aye. Chairman Bear voted aye via absentee. Representative Haroldson voted aye via absentee. Representative Sherwood.
Aye.
Representative Smith.
Aye.
Vice Chairman Pendergraft.
Aye.
Mr. Vice Chair, 7 aye. And who would you like to present on the floor?
I am quite certain that the chairman himself would be delighted to bring this bill. Any further business? Seeing none, this meeting is adjourned.